Come va? Ah.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the fifth in this year's series of Conversations on Glass by Apice, taking place as part of the Italian Glass Weeks, an international festival dedicated to glass in all its forms. The first week took place in Milan from the 10th to the 18th of September, and we're currently in full swing here in Venice. We started on the 17th, and we will run until Sunday, the 25th of September. My name's Camilla Purdon, and I work as the coordinator of the Venice Week of the festival, which is organized by a committee made up of 5 institutions here in Venice with particular expertise in glass: the Consorzio Promo Vetro Murano, the Fondazione Musei Civici di Venezia, the Istituto Veneto di Scienze, Lettere ed Arti, the Fondazione Cini with la Stanze del Vetro, and the Comune di Venezia. And this year, we are presenting a series of daily online panel discussions, Conversations on Glass by Apice. Apice is a leading transportation company for works of art with special expertise in the transportation of glass works. And these conversations are designed to cover a range of various topics relating to the field of glass, involving speakers from Italy and abroad, with the aim of providing a platform for reflections and discussions about the world of glass. Today, we are really delighted to have a special conversation titled The Art of Handling Glass in Venice, Homo Faber and Le Stanze del Vetro. Just so you know, we're streaming live on YouTube. The conversation is being recorded and will be available afterwards to watch on the YouTube channel of the Venice Glass Week. But while we're live, if anyone who's watching would like to ask any questions of the speakers, you'd be very welcome to do so. You can just type them into the chat function of YouTube and we will relay them to the speakers afterwards. So I'm now delighted to introduce Marzia Scallon, who is our moderator today. Marzia is the chief curator at the Centro Studi del Vetro, as part of the Istituto di Storia dell'Arte at the Fondazione Giorgio Cini on the Isola di San Giorgio Maggiore, where the wonderful Le Stanze del Vetro are situated and where Homo Faber takes place every 2 years. So I'm very, very pleased to now hand over to Marzia, and she will introduce our brilliant panel of speakers today. So Marzia, over to you.
Thank you, Camilla. Thank you very much and welcome everybody. I'm very glad to moderate this meeting and I hope you will enjoy it as we did last year. I'm also extremely grateful to Alice Zanon, Alberto Cavalli and Laura Corazzol for participating. We will discuss together the challenges, logistics, technologies, and solutions involved in handling, installing, transporting, and dismantling glass in the context of Homo Faber and Le Stanze del Vetro. That is to say, 2 highly significant projects, both situated on the island of San Giorgio, from which I am streaming live right now. On the occasion of these 2 important initiatives, more than 1,000 artworks had to be brought into our premises. And of course, there were several aspects to face up and to deal with. Works were in porcelain, in wood, in paper, and of course in glass. And furthermore, both the events were scheduled to open in the very first days of April. So in such an international context, including foreign couriers and curators, considering the ancient and delicate venue such as the Fondazione Giorgio Cini, in a very, I would say, overlapping turnover of designers, artisans, audience, I really have to say, and I can testify it personally, that Apice confirmed its elevated quality standards and capability. So I'm introducing immediately Alice Zanon. She's in charge of the Stanze del Vetro project since its very foundation in 2012, and she's been carrying out a lot of projects. So I'm sure she's satisfied with her role, very appreciated, and I ask you to discuss together with us and to share your experience on about Homo Faber and the Stanze del Vetro. Alice.
Hi, thank you, Marta, and thank you, Camilla. Thank you, everybody, to be here. Yes, I think that March 2022 was a great period because we had the Stanze del Vetro, Homo Faber, the Biennale, the beginning of the Biennale. So it was a great period for Venice and for the return after COVID, you know. So it was a bit difficult, I have to admit it, but I think that Laura and Alberto agree with me, and also you, Marta. But finally, it was a great return also to the normal life, and I'm very glad to work for Apice, for this company, and I'm very glad to work with all of you. Yes, so thank you also for supporting us, and it was a bit difficult, yes, to maintain, as you told before, Marcia, the high standard, because Venice in that period was a mess. I don't have any other word to discover this period. But anyway, it was a great period, and I think that also Alberto and Laura can confirm this thing. So yes, maybe Alberto also want to say some words about this, but if you want, we can start maybe with the presentation.
Yes, if you have, Alice, maybe you have a formal presentation, some images to share, and then we will pass it over to Alberto just to focus on one single, one single speaker. And then we can discuss all together in the second part of the meeting. What do you think? Okay.
Yes, please. Thanks. So just we can speak with. I prepared some images just to let the other people of all the world can understand maybe better how it works in Venice, because actually is the art of handling glass in Venice. So as you can see, also here we have 4 branches offices in Italy: Florence, Milan, Rome, and Venice, of course. But as you can understand, Florence, Milan, Rome are always art cities, a city of art. But Venice is special. We have a lot of problems for the handling of heavy artworks, and as you told before, we have to maintain the standards. So we have to transport the artworks safely. This is the main important thing. We started more than 30 years ago here in Venice to transport artworks. And after this, we opened also other offices in the main cities of Italy in order to cover all of the Italian territory. And of course, also in Rome, Milan, and Florence, there are a lot of difficulties about also Florence. Little streets, so every city of art, like in the past, is always an experience now to understand. But of course, Venice is the main one, because you have to consider the transport by truck and by barges. So I think that to speak better about the transportation in Venice, it's fine. But if you want to say yes, to pass to the next, just to show you, before to speak only about Venice, just to give you a landscape of Apice and the services of Apice. And of course, we work in all over the world. I mean, we have also some company and we cooperate with this company, and also the company in the other states, of course, have to maintain the high standard. We believe also in the preparation of our employers, our handlers, and I think this is the main part that we have to maintain and to consider, because of course, if you have a great staff, it's easier, no? So also if you cooperate also with the other offices, the other agents in all over the world, I mean, this is the most important part, because also the cooperation between us is very, very important, and it is useful. So we offer a service, we can call it nail to nail. We start from the site visit, because sometimes we have some big artworks, or in case of glass, delicate artworks. So we started with a site visit, if it is necessary, of course, but sometimes we have to base our estimates, our transports on our experience, of course. We sometimes we have also to coordinate the arrival of the artworks from all over the world, and they are so there is a courier which follows the artworks during all passages of all movements of the objects. So we have also to organize the stay in Venice, and to find an hotel in Venice, airline tickets, if they have to take a flight, for example, from the US, we have to reserve also the cargo flights if it is a big big artwork. After this, of course, we have also to do the insurances, the bonded warehouse, customs, fine art formalities. So we offer to the client a nail-to-nail transport. So from the house of a private or from a museum until the exposition in Venice, or the contrary, vice versa, of course. I can't hide that the Venice part is the most important for us and the more delicate one, because we, of course, we follow, for example, if we have a great museum, we have to follow the artwork step by step. So the artworks and the courier in this case are not alone for all the trip. So the artworks and the courier are assisted for all the time, and this is very, very precious for us. The artworks and the couriers, they not have to feel alone, you know. We prepare sometimes also some showcases, or we have also clima boxes, other particular things that maintain also the safety, so the humidity control, the temperature in the crates, in the boxes. Yes, I mean, we can offer the cover of all during all the transports. Next, please. As you can see now, I show you also our trucks needs some temperature and humidity control. they're not normal tracks, you know, so we have to maintain also this standard. And I show you also a piece of our fleet in the other image, just to understand. Of course, we can't do this on the boats, as you perfectly understand, because boats are opened. So sometimes the clients are worried about this, because they say that, okay, but you have tracks with all of this necessary tools, necessary information, and in the barge, what happens? Nothing or anything. So we, for example, and I think sometimes the question is, and if it rains, okay, of course it could be, or the fog or the humidity in Venice, and we have always to cover and to transport safely the crates. So we have to cover. So my colleagues outside, the handlers, I think they're not happy to work with the rain, but actually we have to do also this, but they are always prepared to cover the artworks and to transport them the most safely way. Next, please. I found some images just to let you know that, of course, we when we speak about glasses, usually they are small glasses, and not because they are small, they are precious, of course, maybe more than the bigger ones. But I show you also in this picture a very, very big crate, and we have always to maintain the same standard. We were lucky in this day because it was sunny, but in any case, we have to maintain the high standards. This is the transport in Venice on the left with a big crate, but also on the right side near the Arsenale, we have this not very little, but a little crate, and we have to maintain always the standard. Next, please. And you mean, okay, sometimes we have very, very heavy artworks to transport. Also, when we have little artworks, because if you have to do a lot of stairs in the ancient palace of Venice, we have to bring the artworks at the first, second, third floor. And of course, our handlers are strong, but not enough sometimes. So we have also special instruments, special tools to transport the artworks. As you can see on the left side, we have the piano plana, also called the cat in Italian, in Venetian, and the A-frame, the second one in the middle, is a special structure which permits to transport higher crates into the tracks. Because in this case, if you inclinate it, of course, it's less high. And the other one, it's a sort of a little crane that will permit to anchor the artworks to the wall. Or if you have a base, an ad base, and the artwork, also if it is in glass, because sometimes their glass is full, no? So also if you have a piece 40, 50 centimeters, Laura can confirm sometimes they are very, very heavy. So we use also this one. Next, please. Okay, just to show you how a crate could be, just to have an idea. I think this is I don't know, an animal maybe inside, but we suppose that this is I don't know, a Venini artwork, a Venini animal, like in the Arca di Vetro, maybe we had some animals, okay, and we have to use a lot of different materials in order to guarantee the security of the artworks into the boxes. So you can see the external board, which is the crate, of course. Apice is red, so also the crates are red. And inside we have some barrier materials in order to avoid the humidity and the shock of the movements. After this, we have 3 different kind of foams in order to reduce also the vibration. And inside we have other boxes in wood and card boxes. And inside again, foam and paper, not acid paper. And we have some pits, as you see, the blue ones. They are the skid mates. And they, of course, they are all different and they are based on the weight of the crate. And we use them for the crates for glasses in order to reduce the vibration of the objects. Next, please. I prepared also the next slide, the internal part. So just a little picture just to let you know how the crate is, the 3 different materials used by foam and styrodur. After this, we have all, of course, we use paper, a lot of paper to cover all the empty spaces around the artwork in order to reduce the vibration as in the best way, because the enemy of glass, of course, are the vibration in Italy and the shock, you know. Next, please. Okay, also Alberto, I think, can confirm this. Maybe you saw our crate in at Michelangelo Foundation, which was a great project. This was the second one. We hoped to do this also in 2000, but actually we had some problem about this. But 2022 was really a great exhibition, and it was a pleasure to work with you. And thank you also to Shoes Apice. Thank you very much. What do you think? We were okay for this transport.
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you very much. We will discuss again in the second part of this conversation. We will enlarge the discussion together with Alberto and Laura, but let me introduce Alberto Cavalli, who's the co-director of the Michelangelo Foundation for Creativity and Craftsmanship, and he's also the director of the Fondazione Cologni di Mestieri d'Arte. And Alberto, Homo Faber is one of the major cultural exhibitions dedicated to fine craftsmanship, as I said, and it's organized by your foundation in collaboration with our foundation, the Fondazione Giorgio Cini. This incredible initiative is dedicated to a rich and complex variety of materials and crafts, from paper making to woodworking and engraving, from the rarest artisanal techniques to the most iconic and representative pieces of created and conceived by contemporary artists and artisans and designers. Well, can you tell us some words? Maybe you can share some images too about this extraordinary project.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marta and Alice and Camilla and everybody for organizing. If you can move to the next slide, thank you very much. So yes, Homo Faber has been an event organized at the Giorgio Cini Foundation in collaboration with Fondazione Giorgio Cini, Fondazione Cologni, Fondazione Betancourt, and the Japan Foundation. The 2022 edition took place in April, and it was dedicated to all that human hands and human talent can do and will always be able to do better than any machine. It was a real celebration of human talent through crafts. We have called 22 between designers, curators, architects, directors to help us shape the 15 different exhibitions that composed Homo Faber, that was organized throughout all the different spaces of the Fondazione Giorgio Cini. We also reopened for the first time to spaces that had been previously not used for the past decades, like the Nautico X-School and the Sala Messina. So the curators had to invent a way to present to the public, and we welcomed 55,000 people in 3 weeks. So it was quite successful, I did say. The curators had to invent a way to make the public interact with the spaces, with the setup, and with the objects. Objects that were extremely delicate because they were very often one-of-a-kind pieces made by master artisans throughout Europe and Japan. And we also welcomed some artisans from Africa this time. We had something like 1,000 objects displayed throughout the 15 exhibitions. In many cases, as I said, unique and one-of-a-kind exhibitions. Japan was the guest of honor, so we really wanted to invite everybody to focus on the importance of the official title which is bestowed in Japan to the best artisans, which is National Living Treasures. Imagine persons that with their talent are so precious that they become living treasures. Next, please. Needless to say, among all the pieces that had to be moved from the world over to come to the Giorgio Cini Foundation, some of them were more challenging than others. In particular, in the Longhena Library, with this beautiful setup project by Alessandro Pedron, and with the curators under the curatorship of David Cameo and Frédéric Baudet, we displayed a number of incredibly beautiful and precious objects in porcelain, of contemporary porcelain, made especially throughout Europe. And in particular, the beautiful sculpture that you see there, made by Grégoire Scalabre, which is composed of something like 60,000 porcelain, handmade porcelain bases. So actually, when we contacted Apice to ask them to be our official carrier for all the art transportation, we disclosed, but we did not disclose in details because we were afraid to discourage them, because the challenges were so sometimes incredible. But actually, we do believe that challenges also lead the way to a more creative way of working. And this is, it's the human connections that drives competence into their next step. So even to bring such an artwork upstairs in the Baroque library required a huge effort. Next, please. Needless to say, glass had a preeminent role in the exhibitions that we organized. In the room called Next of Europe, curated by Jean Blanchard and the project by Stefano Boeri, there were many objects in glass that had been selected, from fused glass to mouth-blown glass, to lamp-worked glass, from sculptures to daily objects. All of them, as you can see, had the most incredible and different shapes. So what does it mean to bring from all over Europe objects with this strange shapes? And we even commissioned one-of-a-kind objects. So Venini, the world-acknowledged glass manufacturer in Murano, realized for us these incredibly beautiful vases that have been designed by the world's most famous flower designers. So new productions with unseen shapes that had to be created, brought to the Fondazione Cini, and set up with flowers. So imagine, next please, imagine the number of elements that occur. We had objects inspired by the Japanese culture in the room Italy and Japan. So we had Lino Tagliapietra, we had Barbini, we had Simone Crestani, we had this monumental mirror that had to be brought and mounted right in front of the cenacolo. Next, please. And Sebastian Herkner created for us a room dedicated to interior decoration. So he took inspiration from the Sagrato, which is in front of the San Giorgio Basilica, with the octagons interlaced, and he asked a number of artisans in Europe to reinterpret them in their own decorative patterns and decorative materials. And we did also have these two beautiful panels in glass. One was made in Belgium, the other was made in Germany, and both of them were incredibly beautiful, but also incredibly heavy and difficult to transport, to bring upstairs, and then to build in on the scenario that was built. Next, please. So, of course, glass had to be present at Homo Faber because it's one of the most important means by which human creativity finds its way to express itself through artisanal craft. We did not want to overlap with other relevant initiatives like the Stanze del Vetro and all the other incredibly important initiatives that take place in Venice, but at the same time, we had to find our way to blend in glass artisans between all the other, even almost 500 artisans that we picked up. And we had to make sure that all these precious, unique objects, each of which with its own shape, each of which coming from all over the world, from Ireland, from the Bornholm Island, from Japan, from the various regions of Italy, from Germany, Austria, wherever, they arrived safe and sound. You have seen all those different shapes and all those even delicate details. And regretfully, the artisans, however incredibly talented in making and in crafting their objects, sometimes for some strange reasons, they don't pay that much attention on the way in which their artwork is created, because it has to be transported with the utmost attention, because otherwise, when we open the box, we might have some bad surprises. And this is a shame for the artisan because they cannot have their object displayed. And it's a shame for us because we invest a lot of money to create the most beautiful scenarios. And then if we open the boxes and we find that the artwork is in pieces, it's, let me say, depressing, to use a euphemism. So the dialogue with Apice was very much about this. One, finding a dialogue with all the different lenders that had to be conscious about the importance of perfectly creating and delivering the object safe and sound. With the Fondazione Giorgio Cini, because then, of course, the boats had to come in rigorous places at rigorous timing for, loading, unloading, stocking, storing, working. And with all the different designers, architects, and curators who had imagined their exhibitions in order to make sure that everything flows in the right time. So you see that a partner like Apice proved to be not only a supplier, but a real partner, someone with whom you can speak, someone with whom you can discuss problems, because, hey, we had to organize Homo Faber with a war, a pandemic, the disruption of the supply chain and the lack of raw materials, where 1 liter of essence, of gasoline, costed twice as much as 2 years ago. So either you have a partner that is reliable 360 degrees, or even the most creative and beautifully imagined exhibition does not meet its goals.
Thank you, Alberto.
Thank you very much, Alberto. I totally agree. I've been working with Apice when I was a registrar, and it was, you have the impression that you have not only a supplier, but a team you can rely on for every single aspect. And you can really, I wouldn't say relax, but it's really a strong presence. And I always try to collaborate with them when I had exhibition projects. Just 2 questions. You you show in your slide, we saw the Scalabra's sculpture. It's incredible. I really, when I went into the Longhena Hall, I thought it was glass at the very first glance, because it remembers me a very famous artwork by Lino Tagliapietra, which was exhibited many years ago. And I'm wondering, what if, and I ask it to Laura, but better to Alice maybe, because I want to introduce Laura later. Alice, what if, or Alberto, what if it was glass instead of porcelain? What do you think? I mean, from the point of view of handling and setting up.
From my point of view, there are some elements that do not change, because the delicacy of the artwork makes it incredibly difficult to move and to build. Let's say that with porcelain, we have been maybe facilitated because the artist created an ingenious way to disassemble it and assemble it again. Maybe with glass, this operation would have been a little more complicated, but I would say porcelain or glass, or it might have been methacrylate, or, Apice had to face problems that were related not only with the delicacy of the materials with which it was made, but also with the volume, the weight, the shape, and the display, because it had to be brought upstairs by hand and placed in a library which dates back to the 17th century. So I would say that, like Madonna used to say, when you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. or that was the Sound of Music. I can't remember now. But anyway, Apice knows the notes to sing. So, and this is the base. Then, of course, you have to adapt it to the single element. But in this specific case, I just say porcelain of glass would not have changed that much.
Okay. Alice, how did you bring such a heavy piece upstairs?
Actually, I showed you a lot of tools, but with this one, the solution was strong handlers. Precisely 10 men to bring them upstairs, also because the stairs of the Fondazione Cini were very, very delicate, so we couldn't use any other tools for this. Fortunately, as Alberto said before, the artist created this artwork with a fabulous hanging and assembling system, which permits us to transport it in 3 very big crates, but with an internal structure, iron structure, if I remember well, where the man couldn't fix it, and then hurry up and let's go.
Great. Incredible. Yes, these are things that we will remember. I think we will keep them with us in the future. Alberto, just you named the problem, with the unpredictable aspects that may happen during an exhibition organization. What about Ukraine and the invasion? Did you experience other problems except the gasoline, which was, I can imagine, an important one?
We did, first of all, because we also had both Ukrainian and Russian artisans foreseen in the different rooms. And in many cases, their objects could not be delivered because there is also a limit to the miracles that Apice can make. In that case, regretfully, and it's, stories that are so touching, artisans that had been working for months for their artworks to be delivered, and that all of a sudden contacted us in various ways to say, I had to escape from my city, I am hidden somewhere, my life is, really, I'm still touched at that idea. So we decided not to substitute the missing artworks, but to place panels in which we wrote, here you should have seen the artwork by this Russian artisan or this Ukrainian artisan, but due to the outbreak of war, it could not be delivered. That space was for them, and we did not want to, but then you see, if you have in mind the concept of a room with important artworks and those artworks don't show up, that's complicated. And also to have the artworks coming from Japan, because the Japanese cargo was supposed to fly over Russia. And then of course the cargo was canceled 1 month before the exhibition. The artworks that had to come from Japan were not only those selected by Fukazawa for the 12-stone garden, there were also many porcelain pieces for the porcelain virtuosity room. There were paper objects for the Magna Carta curated by Michele De Lucchi, and so on and so forth. So I had these beautiful crates packed with incredible objects stuck there. Okay, so what do? I mean, there is a limit to what a curator and a carrier can do. And at the same time, though, you have to work around the limit to do your best. You cannot give up. This is because this is something that you owe to the artisans and to the artists. You are investing in them, they are investing on you. They are placing in you their hopes for their artworks to be admired and displayed. So with Apice, we tried our best and we made it. Of course, with a huge investment and with a huge disruption of work schedule, load of work, and cost. But you see, that became not only a logistic act, but something connected to our ethos. We have to make it happen, and we did.
Yeah, I remember that at some point we tried again to write to the Ukrainian artists, and after several emails, we decided we had no choice to show this piece, because the artist never answered to our emails. So it was so in that, I think that in that time we were put in front of the situation, and moreover also as Alberto said, when we had to reschedule the flight, because a lot of companies, Nippon, a lot of air companies decided to not fly anyway to Japan, so for the routing on Russia in this case. And so we had to find another solution with the cargo, because the Japan crates were very big, so they can't fly in a passenger flight. So we had to use cargo, and we had to fly via Dubai. So this was the only solution. And I mean, when we started, so you saw the situation in the media. So yes, but I mean, when I started to have a lot of problems with this, I had to discover that the war really was happening. So it was difficult, but it was also sad, of course.
Thank you, Alice. Yes, as you said, it's very touching because war is still going on. So I think I can talk for you, for the group. We can share our solidarity. Just another question for Alberto. Do you have a particular relationship towards Muranese artisans, towards Murano, the Murano community, let's say?
It's a very special relationship, because if there is something that I love is the artworks made in glass, and then the contemporary ones in particular are so, for me, they're really like magic. So we do now, I don't want to name names now because they are all incredible, but we had the chance to work also with curators like Jean Blanchard that know the Murano situation very well. So from the most acknowledged master artisans to some historical manufacturers, to the Promovetro Consortium and up to galleries, we have found in Murano a very attentive community, someone who understood what Homo Faber is and what the aim and what the ethos of Homo Faber was. Not to be another feather in the cap, but to bring that contemporary way of transforming glass in dialogue with all the other forms of fine craftsmanship. And of course, Murano has been existing since forever, and their skills keep improving. This is striking to me. At the same time, I am very much aware of all the difficulties that they are facing. From the point of view of the Michelangelo Foundation, which is an international one, a community like that of Murano, maybe in other countries, would be really a living treasures community, protected, enhanced, and really kept as one of the most precious treasures that a country could have. Italy sometimes, maybe because we have too much, or maybe because in the past decades we followed a different path of industrial development, Italy is sometimes more distracted about this. Thank God we do have associations, consortia, and the artisans and the manufacturers who are able to speak for themselves. And we, as international institutions, we are always ready to give a helping hand. But I will never stop saying that in order to appreciate, to understand, and to love, you have to go and see. You have to see the real thing. You have to see the transparency of glass, the incredible artworks that can be made with glass. You have to keep inviting artists and designers to come to Murano and be courageous enough as to believe in the power that Murano glass still has. The world loves Murano glass. There is nothing like that. And if we, through Homo Faber, and thanks to the precious heritage of Stanze del Vetro, could add a little something to the promotion of this treasure, we have not made it in vain.
Thank you so much. Great suggestions and ideas for the enhancement of such a precious, treasure that we have here in Venice and in Italy as well. Now, I want to introduce the third speaker, Laura Corazzol. She is the registrar of the exhibition projects at the Stanze del Vetro. Since the very beginning, she's been following with Alice the entire project. So, Laura, you've been working also in the past with important and prestigious institutions such as Peggy Guggenheim Collection, Cari Verona Foundation, and Macro Museum in Rome. So do you have some experiences or exhibition cases that you would like to share with the audience and with us?
Yeah, thank you, Marzia. Good morning to everybody. Today I would like to talk to you about three main exhibition cases which we hold at Le Stanze del Vetro in the past few years. I don't know, maybe I don't see if there is the presentation going on. Okay, yeah. So this is the first one, the first case I'm going to talk to you today is the exhibition Ettore Sozzas and Glass, held at Le Stanze del Vetro in the spring 2017. Which tell us an amazing history about lenders and, let's say, disappear works. The protagonists of this story are a sheikh who loved art and a bunch of architects, designers, and painters involved in an adventure that basically was the construction and the creation of the villa of the future, the Millennium House in Doha in Qatar. The reception hall of this mansion, of this house, was assigned to Sozzas, and the architect created for that space 22 works in glass, which were complete in 2005, but basically they were never exhibited or installed. The pieces, as I say, were complete in 2005, but they were never ever photographed or seen, and they remain in Doha and were believed to be lost until the exhibition at the Stanze del Vetro, where they were tracked down thanks to the research of the curator of the exhibition, Luca Massimo Barbero. So when we face up this loan for the first time, we had to figure out firstly to whom we should have addressed the loan request. So we did some research and we came up with the foundation, which was the formal owner of the works. They were I have to say, they were very responsive from the very beginning, and they immediately confirmed the loan. But we didn't have any information about this object. So we didn't have measures. We actually didn't even know exactly where they were stored. So we didn't have any image. The only thing we had, and maybe we can go to the next slide, was drawings, the drawings done by Sozza. So we were working with a checklist done by drawings, with no measure, no photographs, no instruction for installing the works. So I remember we were kind of difficult about this shipping. And in any case, we figured out that there were the original crates, but nobody never opened those crates. So we didn't know exactly what was inside. And thanks to Apice, once again, we did an incredible job. We organized the shipping. But I remember one day we got an email, a very strange email from the local agent in Qatar. And I'm going to read it, a piece of this email, just to give you a sense of what were going on, what we were going on. So I'm really sorry, but I have a very bad news. The custom inspection was not successful today. The works are not assembled, and one single work is packed in several crates, and custom did not accept it. We unpacked everything today and discussed with the custom manager, but it's not approved. Tomorrow, the client will take detailed pictures of everything, and we have to resubmit the request for a custom inspection. And I remember that this was happening, I think, 5-6 days before the opening. So we were missing 21 pieces in an exhibition. Maybe, I don't want to say the main core of the exhibition, but surely something that was giving a lot of attention by press, by communication. And so obviously, you can see from the next picture, I think then the next slide are still image of drawing and piece. So basically on the left side, you see the drawing, what we were using to work on this project. And then the picture you see on the right side is the work installed and photographed at the Stanze del Vetro. So basically that's the first picture of the work we ever had for these works. And so, yeah, I remember that Alice and I were like, okay, now what we can do? We need this object. We need to figure out how to make this possible. And I remember, I mean, it was 2017, so a few years ago, but I remember getting an email from Alice with the image of the custom in Doha, Qatar, opening all the crates and see for the first time, there was this bunch of objects at the airport, at the custom at the airport, lay on the floor and say, okay, what is this? And we couldn't reconnect the pieces to the checklist because actually we didn't have a checklist. So there was a pipe, there was a piece, but we didn't know which one belonged to which works. So it was kind of difficult, but luckily to Apice, to Alice, to
perfectly remember that day.
I mean, I can say that obviously we made it. We had the works coming, I think, barely in time for the exhibition. And the next part, the funny part, was install those pieces because we didn't have instruction. So we had to look at the drawings. Some of the the original drawings were on display, I remember. And we were looking at the drawings and trying to figure out how we could install these works. And the guys, obviously, the worker did a great job. As always, they are amazing. Every time we work with the workers from Apice, we are stunned because they are incredible. They are incredible always on fixing a problem, on finding solutions during the installation, not only during the transport, but during the installation. For us, they always do an incredible job. they are really part of the creation of the exhibition. And okay, this was the first case. I don't know if Alice has anything to add about that nightmare.
Yeah, the nightmare also with the fine art formalities in Italy, because they say, oh, but these artworks are not drawings. No, actually not. They are glasses, but anyway, you will see them at the site visit during the exhibition.
Yeah.
Yes, now we speak about this in this way, but in 2019 we didn't speak about this.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm afraid we are running out of time. So I would like, Laura, I would like to know about the Velario of Palazzo Grassi, because, you know, it's a very actual experience.
Yeah, it was one of my cases. I want to talk to you. I want to tell you something today.
Yes.
Obviously, the Velario is now on show at the Stanze del Vetro. It's part of the exhibition Venetian Light. And the Velario was the original part of the Palazzo Grassi, was installed in 1951. Oh, I don't know, maybe, sorry, I forgot about slides. Maybe you can go faster with slides around the end of the presentation, sorry, because this is a to go next. Okay, here we are. Was, as I say, originally started in 1951 at Palazzo Grassi, when Palazzo Grassi became the headquarters of the Centro Internazionale delle Arti e del Costume. And then it was removed in 1985-86 during the restoration by the architects Gaia Aulenti and Antonio Foscari. So basically the Velario was made of 30,000 balloon spheres of different size that now they were stored until last spring in something like 50 crates. Basically, the sphere had been placed in crates around the middle of the 80s after the restoration by Gaia Aulenti and Foscari, and probably, I would say, without any cleaning action. So they were just deinstalled and put in crates. So when we decide to try to have this amazing installation at Stanze del Vetro, I remember it was last spring, we didn't have too much time. We had a meeting with the Apice representative at the warehouse of Palazzo Grassi in the mainland. And when we arrived, we found these 50 crates from the 80s, so 40 years old crates, never ever opened since the 85, and contained more than 30,000 spheres. We didn't have too much time to organize a very quick clean and let's say restoration if necessary, or at least have a condition report of these spheres, because we had to, let's say that the Velario that is on show now at the Stanze del Vetro is a reduced scale of the original one. But we didn't know what kind of meat or what kind of size ball were inside which crates. So we had to guess and to take to Apice something like the half of the amount of the crates, so 25 crates. And to check each crate, open the crates to find a way to clean it very fast, to have a supervision obviously of our conservator, Luisa Menzi, and together with the Apice to find a solution to clean it very fast and to check the status and to have installed in less than 10 days, together with another huge installation, which is Italia 61 at the Stanze del Vetro, for the opening of last 8 September. And yes, I think that Apice did a great job at their warehouse, because they really, in less than 1 month, cleaned and checked the status of something like 4,000 spheres in less than 1 month. And how you can see now, they're perfectly clean. They weren't cleaned when we opened the crates. And obviously a big part of this project as Palazzo Grassi, they were very supportive. They help us and support us in all this. They basically let us do everything we had to do without any question or any problem. So thank you to Palazzo Grassi as well, and thank you to Apice for the job, because it was really impossible if you think it was May 2022 and we opened on September.
Incredible, incredible, really challenging and breathtaking. If you have the occasion, I'm addressing my words to the public. Please come to San Giorgio and visit the exhibition. It's really incredible. So time is really over now, Camilla, I think, and thank you for directing us. And I would like to thank the speakers and everybody for joining us, and of course the organizers and Apice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Also,
And on behalf of
Stanze del Vetro and Homo Faber, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. On behalf of the Italian Glass Weeks, the Venice Glass Week, I'd just like to thank all of our wonderful speakers and moderator. Your conversation seriously helped to underline that Apice and in fact, Alberto and Laura, you are all miracle workers. I've obviously visited both editions of Homo Faber, and I've been to many of the wonderful shows at Stanze del Vetro, and everything is, without exception, always presented to perfection. So visitors take it all for granted, and I know would have no idea of the enormous amount of effort and time and investment and professionalism, that blood, sweat and tears that goes into each and every aspect, and also the teamwork. And I think it's been fascinating also to hear about the challenges and complications that the last few years have thrown up as well, particularly in relation to the war in Ukraine and COVID and the rising fuel prices. So it's been really, really valuable to hear the backstory that's been going on behind the scenes. And it makes the achievements of Stanze del Vetro and Homo Faber, together with Apice, obviously the perfect partner, all the more remarkable and impressive. So again, a huge thank you to our wonderful moderator, Marzia, for drawing this conversation together and teasing out all of these fascinating points, to the brilliant Alberto Cavalli, to the wonderful Laura Corazzol, and of course, to the incredible Alice Zanon and everybody at Apice. We're so grateful to Apice for facilitating this program as part of the Italian Glass Weeks. And to everybody who's watching at home, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you will have found this conversation interesting. The good news is that it's been recorded, so it'll be available to watch in due course on YouTube. So do spread the word. And then finally, sadly, we have only one more conversation as part of this series of 2022 Conversations on Glass by Apice. It's happening this afternoon at 5 o'clock on Friday the 23rd, and it's called Shattering Boundaries, New Technologies and Techniques in Glass Today. So we're very pleased to be joined by Julia Körner, architect, founder and managing director of JK Design, who's been taking part in this year's festival with an incredible selection of 3D printed glass vessels currently on view at the Gritty Palace Hotel, printed in collaboration with Swarovski. We also have the brilliant Maria Koshenkova, artist who is taking part in the Biennale this year, but also as part of the Italian Glass Weeks in the Hub, and I know also has been involved with Homo Faber as well. We have Susanne Jokke Jonsson, who is a member of our curatorial committee, but is also project director at the European Glass and Ceramic context of the Royal Danish Academy School of Design. And finally, the artist and designer Tanya Pack, who has also got work here at the Italian Glass Weeks Venice Hub at Palazzo Loredan. So if you're interested to hear more about some of the new technologies and techniques being used in glass today, which really is the most extraordinarily exciting field, and hear about some of the pioneering work that's going on to forge a future for glass, do join us at 5 p.m. today. But in the meantime, once again, thank you so much to Alberto, Alice, Laura, Marzia, and we look forward to seeing you soon in Venice. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.